LTX Studio just released LTX V2, which is a new video generator that claims to be the fastest in the world, is priced pretty reasonably. And today I'm going to test it out to see if it can compete with the likes of Kling, Seedance, VO3, and Sora 2. So I'm going to be testing this all out in FLORA, which is my intelligent canvas of choice and the base tool that I use to build out my one-person AI creative studio. So LTX Studio is a big player in the AI image and video generation space. It offers a pretty cool canvas for you to test out different ideas. It allows you to storyboard and basically build out images or video in one place. In terms of the new LTX 2 model, this is the crux of it. So it claims to be the fastest AI video generator in the world. To be honest, that's not such a big deal if the quality isn't there, but it's also really competitive cost-wise, and it claims to be studio-grade quality, which we'll test in a moment. They claim to be ranked in the top 3 AI models globally. Again, everything that you're seeing here is marketing speak. So they've obviously selected the best clips, the best copy to kind of make this particular model stand out and kind of highlight the value proposition. I've heard very good things about it. I haven't tested it deeply, but I believe it is a great place to start if you want to try out AI image generation, video generation, and kind of test the waters. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be testing it out in FLORA. So I've created 10 different images here using Nano Banana Pro. And as a quick aside, it is wild what Nano Banana Pro is capable of. So you can see the prompts that I've generated here. This is incredibly detailed. If I zoom in, there's very little wrong with this image. Maybe the background trees are a little bit too cliched, but in terms of the detail of the leopard, the tree, etc., it is phenomenal. And this is a 4K quality image. I've done the same for various different scenes as we go down so that we can take these images and create new nodes using LTX V2 to see what it can produce in terms of animating these images. So this is what that looks like. Let's start with our leopard. So we click and drag a new node, create a video node, and we scroll right down to the bottom here. We have Lightrix LTX V2. Here you can see it cost 480 credits here within FLORA. And you can see comparatively, it's not bad. These are some of the cheaper models down below. Models with 2,000, 3,000 credits. VO3 is 3,000. VO3.1 is over 4,000. So in context, it's actually pretty reasonable in terms of credit costs. So we're going to select Lightrix LTX V2, all these tongue twisters. And I'm going to type out a quick prompt here. So let's say the camera pans to the right as the leopard lazily stares into the distance. I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to use a FLORA feature called Enhance Prompt. One click, it takes my prompt and just makes it a lot more detailed and descriptive. So here we have the camera pans right as a leopard lazily stares into the distance. And reading the rest of that, you can see how it's kind of added a little bit more context based on the image we've given it. Before I run this, I'm going to do the same for the rest of the images, just to keep you on the edge of your seat, hopefully. So let's choose Lightrix. So we've got this scene of a car driving down a coastal highway. And again, if I zoom in on this, the clarity is incredible. Nano Banana Pro, shout out as a side note. For this prompt, I'm gonna say let's say the camera pans along with the car as it speeds down the coastal road. The waves crash in the background. Okay, again, pretty lazy prompt here, so I'm gonna enhance that. Same here. What I recommend is adding a simple prompt and then just enhancing it if you're feeling particularly lazy. If I'm going into much more detail with these, I usually use a combination of ChatGPT and pen to paper, writing out what I have in mind in terms of movement, or if I'm generating an image, what I want the image to look like. Let's say here the camera is still. As water droplets. Let's say the camera is still as the flower subtly moves in the wind. Okay, again, keeping it simple. Let's enhance that. In the meantime, let's get these generations going. So within FLORA, you can hit generate bottom right, or you can select all of them and hit run all together. So we've got those running. We can also test out the speed of LTX here. This image, pretty good. Maybe some inconsistencies in the water texture, but aside from that, it's solid. So we're going to create a new video node again. Let's get LTX V2. Let's say the drone camera slowly pans over the lake. Let's keep it simple. Enhance prompt. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up from here. You get the gist of it so that we can run these concurrently. Okay, cool. So I've got my additional prompts. We're gonna hit run on these and let's review what it's got. So straight off the bat, I can see it's already the first frame is pretty similar to the original. You can see the color differences. It's always good just to give it an eye check to see if it's got that. Okay, the zoom is way out here. This was really slowed down. Even you can see the speed of it is just not quite right. But without that weird camera movement, it's a pretty impressive shot. As it expands out, it's kind of filled out the rest of the scene. So that's not terrible. That's pretty impressive. A bit of a weird tilt with the camera movement there, but this is pretty passable and it's not a bad looking shot. Next, we got the flower. Okay, nothing to write home about, but it's a pretty interesting shot as a standalone and it adheres to the prompt. We've got the rest busy generating here. In terms of speed, this does seem pretty quick. I mean, it's not super quick to the point where I think it makes a massive difference, but suggesting 6 minutes per generation, but it seems to have been considerably quicker than that. Okay, so this is actually a good video. It just hasn't adhered to the prompt because I said a drone camera slowly pans over a serene lake. That's not slowly. Take that out and it's not bad, especially when you upscale this. It could be a usable shot and obviously slow it down. Okay, so we got the noodle bar. Okay, this one, it's failed. Okay, so I wanted the truck to drive off, lightning in the distance, and it's just botched that. But compared to some other video generators, this isn't completely awful. Obviously, this isn't usable, but I've seen worse. And then we wait for these to generate. All in all, I'm fairly impressed with this. Given the price and the apparent speed, it does seem to be quicker than a lot of video generators I've used. And some of these are absolutely usable with a bit of minor editing and upscaling. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this. If you're looking for like a mid-tier model that can do a lot of the things that the likes of VO3, Sora 2, Kling 2.1 can do at a fraction of the cost, this is already 4 times cheaper than Kling, which is 50% cheaper than VO3, which is a very convoluted way of saying that this is a much cheaper version compared to what I use as go-to video generators. So we're going to wait for these last few. Again, maybe the speed isn't quite what they say it is. And fair enough, I am running this in FLORA, so it could be slightly different. But overall, this is something that I'm going to play around with to see if I can use it for client work and everything I'm building through my creative studio, especially for concepting and maybe doing like a proof of concept for a particular job. Obviously, these scenes here are quite varied. It's a lot of landscapes and more storytelling vibes, but this seems like it could be capable of doing more commercial type applications, things like product drops, ad campaigns, e-commerce products, etc. To review these last ones, let's have a look at the lantern. Okay, that's decent. The camera movement in all of these, I feel, is not amazing. It's passable, but it's just differences in speed and movement that just make it look a little bit uncanny. The seahorse, that's pretty solid. It listened to the prompt, so the camera slowly pans back as the sea life slowly sways in the water. I'm quite impressed with that. Okay, this looks pretty realistic, something that could have been shot on a camera. And then lastly, we've got it really adhered to the prompt. So I asked it for the dude to raise his arms as the northern lights move in the background, no camera movement. This is a pretty good shot. I'm impressed with that. So overall, I would say this is definitely worth adding to your creative arsenal, especially if you're using it within FLORA. FLORA allows you to kind of test all of these different image and video generators. And if one prompt or output doesn't work, you can always shift to another to see what if it can improve on the output. So LTX V2 is definitely a model I'm going to keep using, going to keep experimenting with. And yeah, I'd love to see what you're able to create with this. If you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of AI creativity and learn how to build your own one-person studio, head to escapism.ai to sign up for my free newsletter. If you want to give FLORA a try yourself, you can clone this exact workflow and get 25% off if you choose to pay for it. Thank you for watching. And if you're enjoying this content, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like, subscribe, and anything you're struggling with when it comes to AI creativity or any questions you may have, drop me a comment down below and I'll respond and potentially make a video about it. Thank you for watching and I really appreciate the support. Cheers.